good afternoon, and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Mosey Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting here from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today and get more information on Anidjar and Levine on my website at markmoseyshow.com. And I hope everyone watching this, listening to this right now, hope you have a great holidays with your family. Christmas on Thursday. All right, I went positive. Let's go negative with this guy. Yes.
That's as good as it's going to get, Mark. It's as good as this conversation is going to get, buddy.
Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Let's talk Buccaneers football, who are still alive even after the 3-point loss yesterday in Charlotte. Luke, what happened in this football game yesterday?
I mean, the funny thing when I was looking forward to having this conversation with you is like I don't know what else to say at this point. Like, I don't know what they're doing that's not the same thing they've been doing for the last 5 weeks. Like especially the last 2 weeks. Like, you lose to the Saints at home, you lose to the Falcons at home on national TV, and then you have a week and a half to prepare for a huge game on the road against Carolina, and you just give it away. Like, you had this game, you should have won it. There's so many different ways, and the same was true the last 2 weeks. It's just, I don't know how else to. It's just painfully obvious to every Bucs fan who's paying attention that, like, this is where we got to with Tony Dungy at the end of his tenure, and why he lost his job. It was because good wasn't good enough anymore. Getting to the playoffs, getting bounced in the first round. Division titles are great; they're really cool, but the Bucs are at a point where they're either going to have to accept that this is as good as they can be, winning probably the worst division in football every year and getting absolutely bounced. Listen, if they win the division and the Rams come to Tampa, like, what's going to happen? The Bucs are going to get demolished again. Like, what is that? If that's your ceiling, to get embarrassed at home as the 4 seed and every year, like, the Bucs are going to have to, and this is ownership. Ownership is going to have to decide whether or not that's acceptable, or whether they're willing to risk being worse than this for the opportunity to be better than this, because that's what it's going to take. You're going to have to make a hard decision. And again, a lot of Bucs fans are going to be saying, hey, they should have made this decision last year. They should have kept Liam Cohen, who is setting the world on fire in Jacksonville this year in his first season. And again, you can acknowledge that they could have done that, with the reality that they were just not going to do that. That'd be like the Lions firing Dan Campbell to make sure Ben Johnson doesn't leave. Like, it wasn't going to happen. But I don't know, man. The game itself, again, it was just the same thing we keep seeing over and over again. It's coaching malpractice. It's players not executing. It's injuries continuing to kind of bite them. Like, the fact that they still don't have either of their 2 starting guards is just killing the offensive line. And some of it is schematic too. Like, you finally have all 4 of your receivers fully healthy, right? You could have Ibuka and Evans and Godwin and Millen all out there, and your focus is to make sure you run the ball 30 times and control time of possession. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, what year is it, Mark? What year is it? Is it 1997 when you can just ignore the passing game and hope you're limiting possessions on purpose? Because you know your defense is so bad, you can't rush 4 and get home, but you can't cover if you blitz. So what do? The sequence at the end of the half was the perfect example of why this entire staff needs to be gone next year. And I'm not a call for his job type of guy 99% of the time. But and some Bucs fans will tell you this. I get grief all the time because I haven't been hard enough on Todd Bowles. I haven't been willing to be like, this guy needs to go 2 years ago, like some people were. But that sequence at the end of the half where there's 12 seconds left and the Panthers are in like long field goal range, but they have no timeouts, Mark. And Todd Bowles sends the house and leaves everybody man to man. And should Jamel Dean stop his man? Yeah, sure. But there's 12 seconds left and no timeouts. You play safe and tackle them. And there's a time, or they throw it out of bounds, they kick a field goal, and you're still leading going into halftime. Or it's like, there's just so many different ways in which it's clear that this staff, it's time for a change. It's time for things to change. part of that, again, the players deserve a lot of grief for the execution that they've had over the last few weeks. But there's a lot of overhaul the roster needs to go under. Sorry, this is a really long-winded answer to your first question, so I know I'm monopolizing the first segment here, but man,
you're all right, man. You're all right. Get it out.
I don't know what else to say, Mark. The team is mediocre at best. They might be good enough to win a bad division again, but they're going to get annihilated by whoever that is, right? If you're the 4 seed, you get the 5 seed. So you either get the Seahawks or the Rams probably. And like, that's just not going to go well. It's going to be another embarrassment. So I think, again, can they beat the Dolphins? Can they beat the Panthers at home and win the division still? Absolutely. Do they still need to install a new coaching staff in the offseason, even if that happens? Unless they win that playoff game convincingly and make a playoff run, this is as good as this team is ever going to be. And I think if the Glazers understand that that's not good enough, if you genuinely want to win championships, again, you have to risk the possibility that you'll get worse for the chance to get better, because we know that under Todd Bowles, this is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah, I saw the stats this morning. I think he's 34-31 as the coach, 1-3 in the playoffs. The one win I forgot about, it was that year the Eagles just completely fell apart after going to the Super Bowl. All right, this is the tough thing I'm going to say to you, and I've been your friend for over a decade now. When you look at the whole NFL, this has been a very wacky, just crazy, chaotic year. No Chiefs now, so it feels like everyone's got a chance. I said this earlier. It reminds me of the NBA when Michael Jordan went to go play baseball, and all these teams are like, well, wait a minute, I got a chance to win.
Yeah.
So you have all these teams that are believing. They're young. My Bears, the Jaguars, the Carolina Panthers, New England, Denver. All these teams are emerging. Seattle with Sam Darnold. And you could see these young guys, they're starting to believe, and their coach is making them buy in. And when I saw the Buccaneers yesterday in the last couple of weeks, they look dead in the water. Like they're just going through the motions. You told me weeks ago, hey, whatever happens, we got the Saints, we got the Falcons at home, take care of business, we're good to go. I feel like, and I want your thoughts on this, logistically, my brain's thinking, we're going to go to week 18, they're going to flex this game to Sunday Night Football for the division. But at the same time, I don't even trust the Buccaneers to win in Miami now. And Miami is garbage, but I don't see 4 quarters of football from this team. That's where I'm so confused. I am not betting on the Buccaneers to even get to week 18 right now. I'm not.
No, and again, and there will be Bucs fans that'll say that they're better off. Like, go ahead and just lose this week. Let the Panthers just end it now, and let's get it over with. Let's get a head start on the head coaching search. There's and get a better draft pick. Like there's a case to be made for that. I'm definitely I can't root for my team to lose kind of guy. And again, I think even if the Bucs win the division and lose in the first round of the playoffs, I'm still making a coaching change. One thing I want to point out too is Jason Light, the general manager, will be the first person to admit that he has not done enough to upgrade the pass rush. He has not done enough to address the linebacker position. The depth along the offensive line, again, you can't guard against that many injuries necessarily, but he'll be the first to admit his faults is all I'm saying. And I know that he and Todd have a good relationship, but I think it's important to remember Jason Light did not pick Todd Bowles to be the head coach. Bruce Arians did. Bruce Arians basically made it impossible for the Bucs to do anything other than that changeover because of the time in which it happened. It was late in the offseason process, and he was like, I want to hand this to Todd as my right-hand man, my successor, to give him an opportunity to take over a Super Bowl roster and win a championship. And, could Jason Light have said, no, I don't want to do that? If those conversations had gone that way, I don't think Bruce Arians retires. I don't think Bruce Arians retires unless he knows that that's going to happen. So I don't even think Todd would have become the head coach in that scenario anyway if he had said no. All that to say, I would like to see Jason Light able to actually pick a head coach, since he picked Bruce Arians, which led to Tom Brady, which led to a Super Bowl. I would like to see Jason Light get an opportunity to make a head coach pick that's actually his pick instead of just going along with Bruce Arians' plan to succeed him. So I'm hopeful he gets that opportunity. And I think they've got some holes to fill, but a lot of it is depth. They need to fill a lot of depth, and they need to upgrade the pass rush. They can do that in an offseason. They can fix what's ailing the roster in an offseason with a solid draft and free agency. I don't think they can fix what's wrong with this coaching staff within the staff itself. I think, again, Todd Bowles has been running this defense since 2018, 2019. Like, everybody knows what you're getting with this defense, and it has run its course. Again, it like you said, it's the end of the Tom Brady era, that last season where they barely got into the playoffs and won a bad division, but you could tell it was over. Like that, the Brady thing had done what it was supposed to do. It brought quick success and a championship, and it was always worth all of it. It still is. But it ran its course, and it was time to make a change. That's the case with this coaching staff. And hopefully I think we see, again, you mentioned all those other teams that are young and exciting and have all these different things. Like, this coaching staff is holding the Bucs back. They are keeping them about a decade behind the NFL from a philosophical and a schematic standpoint. And honestly, this is a league-wide thing for me, but I've been talking about it with my dad and my brothers the last couple of days. Is like, you can't. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with a defensive head coach anymore. I don't think you can do it. I'd love to be proven wrong, I guess, but the formula to win in today's NFL consistently, and I think over a long period of time, is you have to have a head coach who is the source of your offensive system. And that head coach, like Sean McVay, and again, you guys don't grow on trees. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to find a head coach who is not just smart enough and has the scheme and has the creativity and things, but has the ability, the awareness, the self-honesty to continue to innovate, to continue to say, okay, this worked up to this point, but people are starting to figure it out. What's the next thing? How do I change? How do I fix it? He's got to be the head coach. It's got to be on offense, because if you don't, if he's just your offensive coordinator, someone else is going to hire him to be your head coach, which the Bucs have found out the last 2 years with Liam Cohen and Dave Canales. And they are winning games for the Panthers and the Jaguars, which is really hard for Bucs fans to swallow. But if it's your defensive coordinator that's doing really well, teams are less likely to steal that guy, because they know what we're just saying now, which is that you want an offensive guy. So if you get a really good defensive coordinator and a head coach who runs the offense, you're going to be able to keep that group together a year or two, maybe even longer down the years, because you're less likely to lose that guy to another head coaching job, and you're more likely to keep the more important thing, which is your offensive scheme, your offensive philosophy, changing and updating with the times. I think that's the formula that you have to win in today's NFL. Maybe it'll change someday, but right now, that's what you have to have. Instead, the Bucs have a defensive coach with an outdated system that's not working anymore, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore.
Back in the spring, when there was the story where Liam Cohen was in the building and he was ready to come back, and then he's like, nope, I'm going back to Jacksonville. I never thought it'd be that big of a story now. I never thought this is why I can't gamble on these storylines. There's no way at the time that you thought the Jaguars would have a chance to get the 1 seed in the AFC. He would show up and fix him.
And this is what I have to tell Bucs fans when they talk about, like, oh, they just should have fired Bowles and made Liam Cohen the head coach. Like, these are human beings. These are people. This is not Madden. This is not fantasy football. This is not just numbers that you plug into if I remove this and plug in this number, it gets better. Like, this is not what happens. As a human being, can you imagine Todd Bowles wins 3 straight division titles in his first 3 seasons. He's the Super Bowl defensive coordinator that helped you win a championship. Your personnel even is built around this defense, and we can have an argument about whether or not that's a good thing. But my point is that the relationships in that building, Liam Cohen was there for 1 year. 1 year, right? This is a guy that was at his previous 3 or 4 jobs for only 1 year. He made an incredible climb up the ladder, but he doesn't have as much capital in that room as a guy like Todd does, for better or worse. Again, but Liam Cohen comes in and goes to the Bucs. Like, the Bucs made him they gave him a new contract, a new extension after 1 year, and made him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL, because that's what he had earned. And then he went on left him on red, went on silent in under cover of darkness, and took the job with the Jaguars after they fired Trent Baalke, their general manager, basically as oh no, please come. We'll do whatever you need. And I'm sure that was part of the deal. And then he goes under cover of darkness and makes a deal. You're going to fire everybody to hire that guy that just did that to you after you just made him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL? It was never going to happen. It doesn't work that way. So again, you can look at the results in Jacksonville and say, hey, that's what they should have done. It doesn't mean the Bucs would be 11-4. It doesn't mean the Bucs would be doing what the Jaguars are doing right now. It just doesn't. Like that's just, I don't know how to tell everybody that the way this went down. And again, I don't even. It's not that I blame Liam Cohen for doing it. Would I have liked to think that I would have handled it a little more differently with more open communication as a human being and respect for the franchise? Yeah, I'd like to think that. Would I have turned down the money that Shad Khan threw at Liam Cohen to be one of the 32 head coaches in the NFL? Of course not. Like nobody would. Like, so that part of it, I don't even lose sleep over that anymore. It was a weird couple of days. But to pretend that it was just going to be such an easy decision, like it was so cut and dry that the Bucs should have fired Todd Bowles to keep Liam Cohen. That's just it's ridiculous. It's not, it doesn't work that way.
I love your thing about defensive coordinator versus offensive coordinator being your coach. Okay, I will defend the Buccaneers now. Now I'm going both ways. Again, they're going to the playoffs every year. They keep losing their offensive coordinator every single year to be a head coach, and there's still consistency. Hey, if they're not getting blown out in these games, they're not completely dead on the floor. I know it's panic time. They still have a chance here. My thing is, forget the coaching, the players. I need more from Baker Mayfield. And look, I get this defense. I know this defense. I need more from Mayfield. This is put up or shut up time for him. I think Ibuka has to emerge as the number one wide receiver in this offense. He has the most upside, the most talent. Mike Evans, your second guy. There's so many things I can say. Bucky Irving everyone has got to step up, and you've got to score more than 20 points this weekend. You have to.
Yeah, again, go back about a month ago, we were talking, Mark, and we said that the Bucs were a mediocre team because they had beaten all the bad teams and they had lost to the only couple of good teams they had played, right? And then they beat the 49ers, which
hey, it's a win.
Good team, but it was, Brock Purdy was hurt. They've been impressive since then, but the problem is now it's not happening. They've lost to 3 bad teams in a row. Like, I guess the Panthers are mediocre as they are and slightly better than the Bucs, but like they're not. Now you've gone from beating the teams you should beat and losing to the really good teams to losing to everybody. You're losing to bad teams. You're losing to teams that should be on your level. And again, you mentioned the execution. I mean, Antoine Winfield Jr. has been awful. He has been awful. Like, what happened? Like this, it was an all-pro 2 years ago. Like, guys are not playing as well as they are capable. And you can talk about scheme, you can talk about whatever, but like everybody's got to pull their weight. Again, Baker, same exact thing. He has made some really bad throws, some really bad decisions this year. He has looked off. Has he been injured half the time? Sure. But everybody's hurt now. Everybody's hurt at this point. You've got to step up. You got to make plays. Again, I said this either last week or the week before on this show. The Bucs are going to get what they deserve. The Bucs are going to get what they earn. They're either going to win enough to make the playoffs and win the division, or they're not. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, they're not, we're going to look back and say, oh, they could have done this. They should have done this. Yeah, but they didn't. They could have beat the Saints, and they should have beat the Falcons, and they could have and should have beat the Panthers. They did not. They did not win. You are what your record says you are. And honestly, the film backs it up. It's not like this is some like, oh man, they were really the better team in that game and they got screwed by this call, which again, there were some bad calls that didn't go the Bucs' way. But the problem is, I have a rule. I'm not going to complain about the refs if I can point to like 10 plays where you could have done something to prevent that and you could have won the game and you didn't. You have to control what you can control. And right now, the Bucs aren't doing it. They're not a good football team. And I think, again, they're going to get what they deserve. What they get is going to be either missing the playoffs or making the playoffs and probably getting their asses kicked in the first round again. Like, that's who they are as a team until they prove otherwise.
It's 3 division losses as well. If you just would have won one or two of them.
It's inexcusable. You had everything in front of you. And here's the difference. People who have criticized Todd Bowles over the last 2 seasons have said, these problems have always been there. They should have fired him a year ago or 2 years ago, and nothing has changed. The difference this year is that they started slow and finished awesome. Like, they finished super strong. They started 4-6, won the division. Started 4-7, won the division. One of those years, like you said, they even won that first round playoff game. This year is different. They started hot, and this collapse down the stretch, you mentioned it, 3 straight losses to division opponents when you're in control, and they're all teams you should beat. This is why I don't think Bowles survives this. It feels so similar to the year that Gruden got fired, because it was the Bucs were 9-3, and they had to win one game basically to win the division, and they went 0-4. They got their asses kicked by the Panthers, I believe twice, but I remember that Week 17 game where D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart ran for like 250 and just ran the Bucs down. All the Bucs had to do was win that game, and they would have won the division. The Bucs went 0-4 down that stretch, and Gruden got fired for it. Like, this is how it feels to me now. This collapse to start 5-1, 6-2, and then maybe to not even have a winning season and to lose the division, that cost you your job in this league. It just has to.
Well, the Buccaneers organization, compared to the last couple of years, they didn't see the Panthers coming with Bryce Young. I mean, like, they just look.
The problem is, Mark, you got to handle you, though. Like, regardless of what happens in the division, the Bucs are the Bucs' biggest problem because they've lost again to good teams. But when you lose to the Saints, you lose to the Falcons, you lose all these different ways. Like, you have so much to deal with in your building. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. They don't even have time. Like, they are not to the point where it matters that the Panthers have snuck up on them. They signed Jason Pierre-Paul this week, for God's sakes.
Yes, they did.
That's how bad things are. No offense to JPP, one of my favorite Bucs of all time, and a very underrated reason why they won that Super Bowl as a leader and as a defender. I think he does not get enough credit. Him and Ndamukong Suh both, I don't think, get enough credit for what they did in that locker room. But come on, man. It's been 2 years, and you're dragging JPP back into the building to what? Be the adult in the room? You got so many veteran leaders in that room, guys that won that Super Bowl, that have those rings. If that's the problem, and God help us if it's the pass rush, if you think 36-year-old Jason Pierre-Paul is going to upgrade the pass rush, I think, again, no offense to JPP, but that tells you everything you need to know about where this team is, and it's a very, very bad place.
And look, the other teams don't give a bleep about your problems. They want to win. And those Panthers, I'll tell you, that locker room, hey, we could go beat Tampa again in their home place.
Of course.
We have to.
Yeah, especially if they flex that game.
Oh, yeah.
National TV at home for the Bucs. No pressure on the Panthers whatsoever. None.
They shouldn't be here, and they are.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's going to go. The Bucs have to, until they prove otherwise, we know exactly what this Bucs team is, and the answer is, frankly, just not good enough. That's what they are.
Let's end with this. And you know, it's funny. Usually on Twitter, I always post like a 96 best of clip of Luke talking about the team. I might just say, listen to the last 22 minutes. I might just post that. The whole thing, the whole rant. He's been waiting 24 hours for this. Let's end with this then. You talk about these coaches, offense. All right, all these young quarterbacks, they all got great coaches to help them. All of them. When you look at the NFL draft moving forward, and you do a great job with Athlon Sports, is that the key? I know it's always been the key, but you really look at like Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams, and you look at what's going on with New England. And look, even though it's been 5 years, it looks like Trevor Lawrence finally got a competent coach to help him out. Is that the number? You draft potential, but you better get him the right coach. Is that the key now?
I mean, I think, like you said, it's always been the key, right? We talk so much about the variables that lead to a quarterback succeeding or not succeeding, but I don't think there's a more important relationship in the game of football that leads to success or failure more than your head coach / your offensive coordinator and your quarterback. Like that matchup. And again, this is why people talk about being in like the culture and unity or whatever like that. There has to be a direct line. The most successful franchises, from the ownership to the general manager to the head coach to the quarterback, like that line has to be as straight as possible, and they have to be aligned as best as possible for you to have sustained success in this league. And again, thankfully for a lot of these young quarterbacks, they're in good places with schemes that play to their strengths, with coaches that are helping them develop at such a high rate. And I love to see that just as a fan of the sport. I think it's good for the sport. It makes for really good football. And I'm happy for the players. It's nice to see young players being able to develop so quickly and be successful, because there's a lot less trying to fit a square peg in a round hole that we dealt with maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago at the quarterback position in particular. You're seeing more and more coaches being willing to open up and broaden their horizons and try different things and mold the offense to the skill sets of the quarterbacks long enough for them to develop the rest of their game. So I love to see it. But to answer your question, yes, that relationship is so vital to team success, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Because you look at New England, they said, we got to get this coach out of here. We got to get Vrabel. And it was the smart move to do. It really was. The other one, I'm not really a big fan of his, but Sean Payton has done an incredible job there.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, no, I don't think anybody ever doubted his talent, his ability to coach a team successfully. I think a lot of people had issue with the way he went about it at times. But no, I think, and again, Bo Nix is a great fit. I think they've got a lot, cures a lot of ills when you have a defense like that as well. So, a lot of respect to George Payton and the defense he's built. But yeah, there's a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good quarterbacks. Feels like we've got 20 like legit franchise quarterbacks in the league right now, which again is great for the game. But it also means if you're not one of those 20, you're in big trouble, and you better go find that guy, which is why we're going to keep seeing teams take risk after risk at the top of the draft over and over again, because you don't have a chance if you don't have that guy.
I could ask you about the Giants, but I really don't care about those jabronis right now. So I just want you to know this. When Caleb Williams threw that ball in overtime, that's what it's all about, buddy. That's what it's all about.
I'm so happy for you. I got a couple of really close friends like you that are big, huge Bears fans, and I'm very happy for you. I was very happy for you in that moment, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. I really don't.
Dude, he really threw that ball. Like because your brain's thinking, all right, we're going to go kick the field goal. No.
Ben Johnson, no. My favorite part, by the way, is as soon as he released the ball, hands went back in the pockets. He puts his hands in his pocket, his little warmer, while the ball's in the air. Like he's just like, ball game.
Dude, the throw to an undrafted wide receiver from Texas A&M who started his career at Division II football, right? His second catch of the year, has to play because of the other injuries. That throw might have been even crazier on fourth down.
And that's just such like, again, I did not play quarterback at nearly the level that any of these guys were playing, but like I played long enough to know that like that throw is so great. And again, Jahdae Walker made a great play on the ball too, because that he threw that ball to a spot, trusting that the receiver would get to it because he read the zero blitz. He knew he had one-on-one. He threw it before the DB even fell down. Like he was going to that spot because he knew with the timing, if I get on my back foot and I have to let this go, if I throw it to the back pylon, Jahdae's going to be there at that moment, which again, made it interesting because he put it like at the edge of the corner. But when you could see on the kind of the rear cam, the sky cam, like that, he let that ball go long before that break was made because he knew that's where the guy is going eventually. And just an elite throw under pressure, man. This is why he's the number one overall pick. Why he was the easy number one overall pick. It's just you can't teach that stuff.
Malik Willis has a chance.
He balled out. Great job, Malik.
He's won multiple games for the Packers. Now, is that just because anyone could be the quarterback of the Packers and just show up? Is that what it is? He's not bad. I'm not kidding around. He can run. He can make the big throw. He's not Jordan Love, but
he's another one of these guys that, again, I've heard that my buddy Louis Riddick at ESPN told me, he was like, NFL teams fail young quarterbacks way more often than the young quarterbacks fail NFL teams. And Willis is just another one of those guys where it's like he goes to Tennessee, and of course he's not going to do the same things there. Like the state of that franchise, even just a couple years ago, like it's just not. It's not the same. Then you get a chance, you get more reps, you get in an offense like Matt LaFleur's, and you have the opportunity to do what Malik Willis has done in Green Bay. So it's just, you've got to be more patient with these guys than most teams are willing to be. And I love being able to see these young guys have success 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the line when they finally get an opportunity and they finally played enough football in the league to understand how things work and get used to it. I love seeing those guys have success.
Luke Easterling, I hope you have a great holidays. And you know what? Let's get to week 18 and flex it to Sunday Night Football. That's what we need. Okay.
God.
Sorry. We'll fire those cannons, buddy.
I don't think my cardiologist is a big fan of that situation.
Try
But
root for my team. All right.
yeah, I know. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, man, I'll talk to you later. All right.
See you, buddy.